Alright, what's up everybody? It's your boy Akeem. Welcome to this blog. Here to give you another scout report for the 2015 NFL Draft. For this blog, I'm here to talk about Bryce Petty, the quarterback from the Baylor Bears. And I think he's a pretty good QB prospect and probably the top senior QB prospect for this year's draft. I think this is a talented athlete. Now let's talk a little bit about him. He's actually from the state of Texas, where he was a couple of times an all-district selection at quarterback before becoming a Baylor Bear. Now during his first couple of seasons at Baylor, he was actually sitting on the bench as a backup quarterback to both Robert Griffin, who is now with the Washington Redskins, and Nick Florence, before he finally became the starter in 2013, where he was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, passing for 32 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions to go along with 14 rushing touchdowns that season, rushed for just over 200 yards in that year, but 14 rushing touchdowns, mainly in goal line situations, and that's why he was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, leading the team to a conference championship and a bowl bid in the Fiesta Bowl, in which they did lose to UCF, but that was a great bowl matchup a couple years ago. Now, this past season, numbers did go down a little bit, 29 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, but he's been battling injuries as a senior. But I still think he's a great prospect. Now, let's talk about his strengths and weaknesses. First, his strengths. Due to his size, he actually is the prototypical size that you want and that teams are lusting for. 6'5", 230 pounds. That is the size and weight that you want your quarterback to be. A good size, a tall player to look over the field, and a good weight to be a good player to the weight enough to take the hits, and he can take the hit, and he has shown that during his college football career. Now, as a passer, he might not have the strongest arm. He doesn't have a cannon, but he has a strong enough arm to throw just about any pass that you want. A zip, he can definitely work on throwing the deep ball. He still needs some work to throw on the deep ball, but I think he has a pretty good touch. He definitely has an understanding when to float the football, when to beam the football, and even just have a good regular touch in throwing the football. That is a good trait that you do like about him. Also, he does a good job with his reads, and I think he does. And that because of that, he definitely does a good job setting up his players around him. And one thing I love most about him is his leadership quality. In that big game against TCU, Baylor was actually down 21 points, and he actually helped them come back to a 21-point deficit to win in that matchup, and that was a close game, and it ruined the season for TCU. Had TCU won that game, TCU would have made it to the college football playoff system at the end of the year, but because of that loss, the computers actually had to boot them out of the playoff this past season. And what a great year for Baylor as well. They still made it to a good bowl game in the Cotton Bowl. Now, a couple of weaknesses that he does have. First, when throwing the football, he sometimes predetermines where he's going to throw the football to before the play even begins. He needs to do a good job just looking around the field. Don't target on one particular side, because that is what focus the defenses to target more on. Now, I might understand that he might look on one side and then throw in the other side to set the defenses up, but he hasn't been doing that too much at Baylor. So that's just one thing he does need to work on. Another thing that people are concerned about is the fact that he played in that one-read offense, the spread offensive system that he played at Baylor, and he benefited well because of how the offense is set up, and people haven't really seen him too much under center. That is a major concern, and that's probably the reason why he actually bumped back at a lot of draft projections for him. Now, I actually project him becoming a 3rd or possibly a 4th round pick of this year's draft. I still think he's a great, talented quarterback who has the potential to become a starter due to his size and his leadership quality skills. I do like him a lot at quarterback. He had 2 great seasons for the Bears. Now, overall, I have to give him a 3rd or 4th round selection. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys will be in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to give you more scout reports. Thank you for watching this vlog. I'm your man, Keenan McCall. Be easy.